Hello folks. Today I'm at my parents' house. My new apartment isn't going to be ready for a couple of days, so I'm staying here until I'm ready to move in. So I thought I'd get a video of the only ceiling fan in the house I grew up in. And this is it. This is a 54-inch Hampton Windward 2, finished in white. I don't remember if this was called appliance white or if it was just white or what, but pretty nice fan. Grown very fond of it over the years. We moved into this house in 2003 and it didn't have any ceiling fans in it, so my dad and my grandpa installed this fan out here. So it's been here almost 20 years. And it works very well. As you can see, the canopy and the motor housing have kind of faded a little bit. The blades are still in pretty good shape. I would have thought the blades would have yellowed before, but I guess not. As you can see, it is in our sunroom, a lot of windows in here, so does get some UV exposure. Still have the original remote. The remote definitely has some fading on there. You can see this is where it used to mount in the cradle, and the rest of it is just yellowed over time, but it's still here with us and it still works. The battery cover came off, so we had to put a piece of tape on it. It's been like that for a while. The original ring light still works. I think that's a preheat fluorescent ring light, and it still works great. The BIOS works. Very impressive for over 20 or almost 20 years. We'll start it up on low here. And it's pretty cool, you know, you get the, you can set the temperature for the fan to kick off. I'll actually turn that down a little bit. It reads the inside temperature, which is not too accurate. It's about 2 degrees off. It's actually 76 in here. So, but I always really liked how this fan looked in here, especially with the vaulted ceiling. It's very nice. We now, my dad put these up a couple years ago. We have mini splits down here now, so it doesn't get that warm anymore. But before we had that, there was no air conditioning, so we would use this fan quite often. And this is where our dining room table was for years. And then since we all moved out of the house, my dad decided to put a little shuffleboard table down here. Low speed's very nice. Put it on medium. No bearing noise. You can hear a hum. I mean, it is all metal. So, I made a video of this fan years ago on my old channel, I think. And we couldn't run it on any other speed other than high because the middle section where the blades come out was scraping on the bottom housing. And that was because when we were kids, we were, you know, stupid. We used to throw stuff at the fan. And it caused a couple of the screws to back off that hold the blades to the motor. And it just caused them to sag and lean down on that middle section, causing it to scrape. So I took it apart and put all the screws back, and they're nice and tight now. And the fan runs very well. And we'll crank her up to high. It's always been very well balanced too. Making a little bit of a creaking noise. The fan doesn't get used that much anymore, which kind of bums me out, but I thought I'd stretch its legs for a little bit. Very cool sound. I believe this also has the Gossamer wind style blade, just like the Hampton Bay industrial fans do, so it's a very good performer. I think some bugs got in there. I gotta take that off and clean it. And we'll shut her off. It's a pretty expensive fan back in 2003. I think it was around $289 or something. My dad wanted something contemporary, and this definitely fit the bill. It still looks very contemporary, even to modern standards. I can still remember the day walking in through this door when I was like 6 and looking up at the fan. But yet again, I was probably about this tall. But I remember looking up at it and being really excited. It's a really cool fan. It'll always hold a special place in my heart, at least. And my grandpa had to cut a hole in the ceiling and run a line up here. There's actually a crawl space up there, and they put it on this switch. And they also, my grandpa also put these lights over here. There used to be a desk here, but over 15 years of living in the house, my parents have gone through a couple of different renovation phases. As you can see, it takes forever to stop. I believe we had to take this fan out one time, and it was only because when my dad and I went to set up the surround sound, we had to run a line through here, so it was just a lot easier to run it from the receiver, have it go up to the crawl space, fish it partially down here, and then we were able to get a hold of it up here above the canopy and then continue to run down there. So that was the only time we had it out of the ceiling, but other than that, it's been here for almost 20 years. Perfect testament or it's a perfect example as to, some Hampton Bay fans are, really good. This is definitely one of them. Very good fan indeed. And as you can see, the spin down is nice and slow. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, this is the only fan we have in this house. The rest of the house is 7.5 foot ceilings. So really not a practical place to install fans. So it's just a bunch of recessed lighting, and it's definitely a nice house, but not for fans. Believe me, I tried, but my dad wasn't having it. So at the end of the day, it's his house and his rules. Gotta respect that. Good quality. It's probably one of the more expensive fans you could buy at Home Depot back then. Clearly worth every penny. It's still here and it still looks great and works great. So that's it for this one, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.